What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. I swear one of these days we're gonna start off Market Watch and it isn't gonna be because of Master Rule Revised, these cards are going up, or this card is something you might want to consider, but for the end of the year, that's exactly where we are with rank 10 trains, getting a little bit of that hype. Urgent Schedule is going off of the market, only 9 prices on TCG Player, $21, $22 here, and more alarmingly on eBay, look how few listings there are with it starting at $25. Now, I do think this is the cursed legendary duelist. Allow me to explain. Urgent Schedule has been bought out before, gone back down in price. Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Juggernaut leave multiple buyouts. It's back at its medium price. Heartbeats have been worth more than this. Frozen Rose is actually at one of its max prices here, a very underestimated card that has a lot of support going forward. And then you also have the Lunalight stuff back down in price. What is with this legendary duelist? It's just available. If prices are going to go up, vendors got a bit stuck with this duelist pack. It is a duelist pack, by the way. It's the exact same structure. Konami did a great job rebranding duelist packs in general with the legendary duelist, but other legendary duelists just have cards that don't see play at all within the metagame that sit $30 and above, and this legendary duelist refuses to provide a $30 card. No matter how many buyouts happen, the quantities just come back onto market over time. So I don't necessarily say rush to catch this train, but I would be getting some stuff sooner than later at their very affordable prices. Super Express Bullet Train, only around $3 to $4 right now, and you know, ultra rares from legendary duelists do have that tendency to go from this price point. Once they get a little smoke, they end up going towards $10 to $12. We also have the super rare Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede carrying you the victory. I think this is another good pick. The fact that you have options for stuff like Gustav Max to do multiple now and just pop off with, it's pretty good. You can only summon one Lieb per turn by his own condition. If you're going to use the effect to rank up into him, that's how you're going to be summoning him. But there are going first place for this deck, unlike Fluffles and Madolches, where I say, man, this struggles if you lose the dice roll and they say, no, you go first. You have actual cards that are problems to get rid of, like number 81, Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Super Dora, which is very cheap right now and only has 2 printings. OTS Pack 10 actually has less sellers overall than the super rares from the Dark Illusions, and these are very affordable. They're what I would go for because the near mint first editions are the cheapest on market. Again, I don't think these are going to all wipe out anytime soon. I think it's a little smoke towards one card and maybe Lieb will follow, but again, I think they'll cool back down over time. Another card with a lot of smoke, and where there's smoke there's usually fire right now, is Nightmare Corruptor Ibli and Conversations, yet it remains very cheap in price. It makes you stop going into the extra deck except for link monsters, and people are talking about how under the new Master Rule, people might do away with lower generic links and only play things like Apollosa and Borosword for ending plays. I think that there's too many good transitional cards, though, for this to be true. When I look at a card like Krishan Needlefiber, any 2 monsters, including a tuner, you're going to do a lot of work to try to keep another monster from joining it in a synchro deck, with how some tuners can end up just throwing themselves on board, and other monsters can. So I think that Ibli, it's interesting to consider down the line, but immediately with what we have coming, I don't think it's a very great main deck option. If you're going to go for a metagame call, just shut off the whole extra deck, as has been done time and time again throughout metagame history with the artifact engine. Scythe is a sleeper penny stock. It may not have the same potential to go up really high like a secret rare Ibli, but I think it is way better an option realistically for gameplay. Frightfur Kraken already down in price. Weird. It's like hundreds of people watch Robbie's Market Watch and actually end up buying cards through his TCG player link, which you can also use my TCG player link in the description down below. So when realistically he has a pretty big audience for Market Watch and he's been doing a great job. I'd actually catch his today. It has a ton of cards I'm not going to get to. I look through and see Frightfur Reborn is going up. Somebody messaged me about this the other day, and I think this is a terrible call. Yes, it's in Duelist Pack Dimensional Guardians, one of the worst ever. a lot of your Frightfur fusions depend on the materials they're made with. Once they've gone off the field and you're reborning them, they're not made with those same materials, and this tends to be lackluster for the deck. There's so many better cards I feel personally you can play, and talking to other Fluffle players, they agree. But let me know, maybe your table 500 IQ brain is going at a million miles an hour. Let me know if you went after this in a buyout, and let me know why you have it listed so high maybe, and why you expect it to do well. I'd love to hear the actual answer. Maybe I'm just missing it, and I am always looking to enrich my own content. Sign-up mining is going up on TCG Player, and people are freaking out about that a little. A lot of the bigger brain vendors are actually like, hey John, have you noticed this? I initially did say that I could see this panic selling in price, going back up towards the set, because we've seen that in history with cards like Lean Karibo, but I personally would be selling, and it's still cheaper on eBay. This is why you always check both. Plenty available around that $30 mark. I think that it's kind of that TCG Player bubble where people kind of agree and find that listing price and hold the line together is just what's happening here. And again, people want to play Salad Boys for the last couple of months that it's Master Link powerful, but I've heard people even argue it gets stronger under the new Master Rule. I don't know about that one, but it is interesting that this is going up so soon in the winter cool-off season, as we see high play cards like Gizmek Orochi actually cool off. Yes, there's actually things for you to be able to get cheaper during the winter season, despite all the hype and the heat that's happening in the market. So Gizmek Orochi is down to one of its lower prices with plenty available around 15. This is something I'd consider. It may not get a reprint by the time the WCQ season happens, and I could see this being $30 at the WCQ if Battles of Legend isn't ahead of time, and this happens to not be in Battles of Legend, but instead sold within the Megatons. Then Girsu also towards one of its lowest points. People keep asking me what I think about this. It's banlist jitters. People are scared of how hard Orcas can get hit. We are not the OCG. We do tend to get different hits, and we definitely need a huge shakeup to make the next couple of months interesting in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I think Dingirsu himself isn't going to get hit. Orcas in general are going to be what's getting hit, and a lot less people will have use for Dingirsu, but he's a generic 8. I think he'll find his way into other decks, but I think the price will stay down if/when Orcas are getting hit. OTS Pac-12 have left a lot of people's conversations, and it just keeps going down. Solemn Judgment is at its lowest possible point. I could have thought it would hit, but people don't like how it looks, and there's some errors that I've seen in printing with Solemn Judgment where like the foiling on the side is messed up. Twin Twisters is towards 54, headed towards 50, and Chaos Dragon Levianeer dipping under 50 already. I do call this being, it's $40 on its bottom out, and this being 50, but I think Twin Twisters one day will be 70, 80. I think Solemn will be towards 80. These are things that if you waited and held off on, kind of try to decide where it's going to bottom out before it receives its buyout. I think it won't receive its true buyouts until OTS Pac-12 is out of stores and you see 13 and 14 creep on. That's typically when you see prices spike. So do keep your eye if you're wanting these cards and get them when you feel like it. The rest of the cards I think highly underestimated here is Primal Being Token, the Nibiru token. Very, very affordable and cheap. I think this will be hype later on. We've seen expensive OCG tokens imported over before. We have this in the TCG. I would consider getting that. Also, I want to talk real quick about the speed duel market. There are some buyouts happening over here, and I just want to say, if you're investing in speed duel and speed duel cards and trying to make these flips, rush duels are coming. Speed duel, rush duel. Do you think Konami TCG is going to keep speed duels around? I certainly think that speed duels in general are in danger, and that it was a prototype for rush duels, and that somewhere around the summer or after, we'll probably be getting rush duel product as well, and I think speed duel product and format may end somewhere around that. But I could be completely wrong. Konami USA could have a really strong love for this and what they've created. We'll have to see how it turns out. I'm just giving you the heads up that, hey, I personally see the meteorite, the end of the world coming for this. Maybe you don't. And the final investment to look at is following me on Twitter for funny memes, and, you know, maybe you can find yourself a Yu-Gi-Oh calendar for $8 like I did, or just completely free memes on Twitter. That's at House of Champs. Thank you guys so much for watching today's Market Watch, though. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. And I know it was kind of fast talking through a lot of cards, but you guys seem to be keeping up with that really well and like the pacing more. I also just want to bring up, as we do head towards the new year, it is a long time for these Master Rule buyouts. If you are participating in them, consider that it's going to be multiple waves of people having to rebuy out things for the prices to actually go back up instead of fall down in quantities to reappear. Motivated sellers are always going to be there, so do kind of consider what you're tying your money up into, and definitely test online more before you decide to sink that money in.